primary stakeholders in TVET education that makes it very unique. And this is what makes it different from the regular, just go to school to go and learn. So you see, we have the teachers, right? And the role of the teacher is to shape the skills, to shape the skill and the knowledge, that people need. So they are the ones that goes, ensure that people get the, they know they impact the skill and the knowledge that they need to succeed in the technical space. So we have the assessors. The work of the assessor is to ensure competence and standard. So we have teaching by the teachers, we have competence and standard by assessors, and then we have quality assurance. And the idea of quality assurance is to maintain excellence. So in all of these things, what have I said? All I have said is this. I walk up to an employer and I ask an employer, what exactly do you need to employ? What do you need in a successful mechanic? And then the employer tells me everything that he needs, in a successful mechanic. I get it. I reach out to every other stakeholder. I get all of this curriculum. I put it together and I walk to a training institution and I tell them, look, there's no need for you to be teaching, for example, combustion engine anymore. Perhaps nobody uses it anymore. Everybody has switched to maybe electric vehicle for those people who are in that area. And then I tell them, okay, this is the curriculum. Instead of teaching all of these unnecessary things, just teach this particular one. So that when these mechanics or mechanical engineers or auto mechanics have, successfully graduated, immediately they go out, Toyota wants to absorb them. Mercedes wants to absorb them because they are current. They know what, they understand the technology that our current cars, use. So this is the whole idea of TVET. So it is specially put together. It's not just, we don't just want to bring you and teach you, stuff that you don't need. We're talking about stuff that have industry relevance. So that's, is the idea of, the whole TVET thing. Now you want to ask me, if I go and I train, do I have, what's my chances of getting a job? Is it high? Because everybody is learning something for two reasons, either to start a business or to get a job. So I would like to start with the getting the job part. Am I going to get a job? And the answer is yes, you actually are. We all know that there is a high demand for skilled professional in every industry, in the manufacturing industry, in the construction industry, even in the technology industry. There are people nobody will talk about a software developer if there are no people who will crimp the cable and physically attach all these machines together. If there are no physical connections, whether wired or wirelessly, whatever you're trying to do on a network is just a waste of time. It will never work, right? Now, so it means that every cloud infrastructure actually rests on a physical infrastructure that has been put together by an engineer. So the world is currently evolving and there is high demand for it. So in the construction industry, for example, we take Nigeria. How many times have we seen building collapse? Apart from the fact that most of these things are caused by compromise, majority of it, like 80% of it, is because of lack of competence, because we do not have the right people who, will do this job. So we see an engineer who actually goes out, doesn't compromise standard, and then he goes, right? And then he employs people. He employs them, he gives them everything they want. Meanwhile, mind you, part of TVET also is teaching compliance and regulatory standard, because these things are very, very important for a skilled individual. If you are a skilled person and you do not understand compliance and regulatory standard, in fact, you will not understand the reason why they use, setting back this number of cement to mold this number of blocks for foundation and all of those things. So all of these things are very, very important, because as a seasoned technical or vocation, or as a seasoned technical personnel, you have that discipline to understand that whatever you're doing, you must ensure that you follow regulatory standard and compliance. So we in the construction industry, we have need for them. We hear of people going to Ghana, to Cotonou, to go and hire those who would do POP. These things are, and we have thousands of youths back there in Nigeria who are just there, jobless, having nothing to do. I mean, there are people who do POP too, but some of them you can't even call them, because when you call them, by the time they are done with the work, you will just be angry. So you see, there is a need for these skilled personnel, even in Nigeria, as we speak. It's sad that we continue to complain that there are no jobs in Nigeria, the country is this, the country is that. But you see, I realize that engineers that fix counting machine are very, very scarce in Nigeria. I just realized that. And if you ask our friends in the banking sector, they will tell you, why are people not learning these skills? They are definitely not learning it because nobody has pointed them there. And this is the reason why Artiskill is there. We are not just offering courses to learn. We are doing our extensive research to, first of all, understand what courses are relevant. And then we will get the required, we are not the ones teaching it. For example, we in Artiskill are not a training institution. And that's the reason why we are partnered with Federal College of Education Technical, Yaba, because they are a licensed TVET institution. And these are the stakeholders that we're working with. What we're doing in Artiskill, we're not going to give you things that I have big. I mean, that's what you have most day out there. Just anybody just wakes up, he sets up an online class and he begins to teach people. But we are using seasoned professionals, people who understand how to impact knowledge and who understand the need for compliance and regulatory standard. So we have them all around in construction, technology, manufacturing, even in the agro industry. I mean, there was a time in Nigeria that, agriculture was the bedrock of our economy. And look at it, immediately we started abandoning all these, sectors of our economy that made us the giants of Africa that, we used to be. You can see what everything has turned to. Now, people are beginning to realize that we need to go back to this. But then, if you must go back to it, if you spend millions of naira on tractors and you do not have agro mechanics, I hope we know that. Of course, we know that agro mechanics are different from regular car mechanics. So if we do not have agro mechanics, if something happens to your tractor, what do you do? So these are the problems that we have come to notice in our society, and these are the challenges that Artiskill, are willing to solve. Now, we want to talk about, how TVET offers hands-on, and world experience. We know that technology right now is the bedrock for education. Gone are the days where everything is done in classes. I mean, right now we have a whole school. You can get your master's degree online without even going to the four walls of any school. And that's the reason why we have reached out to, learning institutions and regulatory bodies so that we're able to put together practical courses, because TVET is practical. We need to be able to explain to you, show you how to do this thing. Now, how are we able to bring practical courses online? Now, you see, people don't need to worry themselves with that. That is where Artiskill comes in, because we have partners who are TVET consultants across board, in Canada, in the UK, across board, we have them. And then we've been able to, from their extensive research, we've been able to come up with ways to present practical classes online. If you check our website, you would see a robotics course, that we have. Now that robotics course is highly practical oriented. Apart from the fact that it teaches you the basics of the technology, it is so highly practically oriented. And in Artiskill, everything you need to create all of those machines, we actually sell it in our marketplace, because we ensure that we don't just tell you, oh, these are the things you need. We also make provision for these things. So apart from learning it, you can buy all of those things on our marketplace, and then you see real life training on how these things are done. Now, and apart from that, also, Mr. Babatunde talked about artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is another tool that we intend to use to drive, real life experience. So what that means is, I can give somebody a virtual reality glass, maybe an Oculus, and I'll tell him, okay, work on this, device, and the person would actually practically be putting devices together, and you would see everything that you've been able to do. You would test it and everything would work. You understand? So these are not, these are, I mean,